Every bitch wearing cheetah ain't a cheater, and you ain't a boss until you take a loss. That's a lost leader. Hey everyone, my name is Matthew. You can find me on Instagram at Matty_CCC, Matty Triple C. I'm the editor-in-chief for Defiant Legends. You can find Defiant Legends on Instagram at Defiant_Legends. So today I'm happy to say I am back for a review of this new Roc Marciano, an Alchemist project titled The Elephant Man's Bones. Roc Marciano is known as the Underground King and has a cult-like following for his incredible rap discography starting in 2010 with this album right here, Mossberg. And his last album was actually above my shoulder right there, Mount Marcy, in 2020. So he's making an album with his longtime friend and collaborator, The Alchemist. The Alchemist is very famous. Many people know him for his many great placements. He's an underground phenom that's been around since the 90s and started producing for artists like Prodigy of Mobb Deep. You can see them there. And this album, you might not be able to see because of the glare, but there you go. It's fully produced by The Alchemist. There they are. So, Alchemist has been around a long time. Roc's been around a long time. Roc is a great lyricist, and I would say he has one of the smoothest flows ever. And Al is one of the greatest producers ever, never making a bad beat. So, Roc mostly produces his own music, but has done albums with another single producer in DJ Muggs that was called Chaos a few years ago. Great album. And now he's doing another full-length album with the producer. And when he does this, it gives Roc the opportunity to solely focus on rapping, and it's always evident from the rhyme schemes of these albums. The Alchemist's mixing over the past couple of years has been on another level. I've listened to him, like I said, since the 90s for a long time. And the past couple of years, his mixing has just been the best it's ever been. He seems like he's in his prime right now. And it's evident with albums like Freddie Gibbs and The Alchemist Alfredo. This one was nominated for a Grammy a few years ago. And another one I would mention would be Boldy James' Bo Jackson. So with his mixing over the past couple of years, every song is deeply layered, and not just with instruments that complement a sample. He'll sample something and build instruments on top of it that mesh really well, but he'll also put vocal snippets inside that complement the rapper and the rap lyrics, almost as backups. And every instrumental, every song has like a seamless transition to the next. And even though Roc and Al have collaborated on a handful of songs throughout the year, like the song Fabio on Behold a Dark Horse, this album right here, where is it? Fabio, great song, one of my favorite rock songs of all time. And this song here, Saw, Boom, off of Marcialago, crazy cover. So even though they've collaborated on a handful of songs throughout the year, they've never made a full-length LP together. Right now it feels an opportune time with Al coming off big record placements like Kendrick Lamar's We Cry Together off of Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. This is also the first time I've seen Roc get help from a major label in Empire Records. It shows that they knew it was time for the world to hear this long-awaited collaboration, and that a major label behind it would help show the world. So the first track off of The Elephant Man's Bones is called Rubber Hand Grip, and it's a fitting intro that sets the tone for the rest of the album, with the ominous instrumental contrasted by these pretty bells. Roc pulls no punches, coming in right away from the get-go with nasty punchline after nasty punchline. Lines like, if it's trouble, then we shooting, it's troubleshooting, we shooting up, but we ain't struggling with drug use. The end of the song has a skit about Joseph Morel, or the Elephant Man, probably from the movie in the 80s. So the Elephant Man was a man in the 1800s who was acutely ill and displayed to the world in freak shows. I guess Roc is comparing himself to the Elephant Man, but he's metaphorically sick as an artist instead. So the second song, Daddy Kane, featuring Action Bronson, has one of the sickest beats on an album full of sick beats. The Alchemist layers these horrific synthesizers that complement these dark bass lines. It's like a West Coast horror movie soundtrack. Roc brings a great sense of humor and a great flow with lines like, every bitch wearing cheetah ain't a cheater, and you ain't a boss until you take a loss, that's a lost leader. Love his syllable work on there, love that wordplay, love those lines, great sense of humor. And the feature from Axton Bronson does the same. Great syllable work, great punchlines, great sense of humor. Lines like, should I let it slide or choke you to sleep with the geese leave until you make feces? So just hilarious. This is one of the 3 features on the album, but it makes sense with Roc and Action's chemistry being long-time collaborators. They collaborate on all sorts of music. So the first single from the album is called Deja Vu, and it has a really unique instrumental that is dominated by these glassy harp chords that come in and out, along with some woozy saxophone and vocal samples that sound like you're in a jazz club in the 70s. It's classy, it's jazzy, it's beautiful, it's dusty, it's deeply layered, and I really like the vocal snippets talking about how everything is connected. Snippets like, the same thing that created the tree created me, the same thing that created wind and the rain created woman, God is everyone and everywhere. I did think this single Deja Vu was a weird choice initially. A single is usually a more accessible track to cast a broad net to listeners, and Deja Vu is not accessible at all, but it makes sense in the context of the album, full of shorter and unique songs. The 4th song, Quantum Leap, is one of my favorite on the album. Quantum Leap continues the jazzy instrumentation and vibes. On Quantum Leap we get jazz piano layers with some slow snare and kick drums. The instrumental leaves a lot of room to breathe as Roc brings one of his smoothest flows on the album. I love the lines and syllable work when he says, you know my body, like my body of work, quality over quantity. His music's always quality. He could have possibly made another quantum leap. Top of the heap, ask my colleagues. You just trying to get by like Talib Kweli. So basically saying, my music, my body has always been quality over quantity. And he could have made another quantum leap, like he's so far ahead. Top of the heap, ask my colleagues, ask other rappers. Alchemist actually said in a tweet that Roc is the best, like he's maybe the best rapper on the planet. And you're just trying to get by like Talib Kweli. Another just funny line at the end, great hip hop reference. I love that song by Talib Kweli, Just to Get By. Classic Talib Kweli song, classic Kanye instrumental. So the title track, The Elephant Man's Bones, is absolutely gorgeous. This is probably the most beautiful Alchemist beat I've ever heard. It's soulful, it's sunny, the soul sample is wonderful, the piano chords are heavenly. It reminds you of sipping lemonade in the summertime. I really enjoy Roc showing his more vulnerable side in the lyrics on this song as well. The song Bubble Bath adds some percussion layers to Roc's famously drumless music. Famously drumless hip-hop, I should say, because there's obviously a lot of drums in hip-hop, but he was kind of the first one to strip it back, take the drums away, make the samples more raw, and give himself a lot of room to rap. So on Bubble Bath, we also get more pretty bells like the intro track Rubber Hand Grip. Roc continues his sense of humor, great flow, and syllable use with bars like, they ain't got shit on me, hell, I might as well be stripping at Chippendales with nothing on but a Richard Mille. On the song Trillion Cuts featuring Boldy James, we get a fast, dark beat and a great feature from Boldy. Roc might have his strongest verse on the whole album, and he sums up his music beautifully in one line when he says, these ain't no regular bars, this a 5-star restaurant. Completely agree. Roc's music is connoisseur rap. He's one of the best of the best. His music is not regular, it's a 5-star restaurant. On the song The Horns of Abraxas, we get the darkest and most cinematic experience on the album. The song is a story about murder narrated by Ice-T. It's grimy, it's demonic, and definitely stands out when compared to other songs in the track list. The song JJ Flash and Stigmata are perfect samples for Roc Marciano's sound. They are so smooth and they are so soulful. The song Zig Zag Zig has one of my favorite beats on the album. This beat is just so insane, it's so robust, it's so in your face, but it's also accommodated by his absolutely gorgeous piano loops that add a wonderful contrast. Zig Zag Zig also has my favorite singing by Roc on this album for the hook. So the final song, Think Big, feels like you're on a beach in the morning watching the sunrise. You can hear seagulls in the background while a record spins and a beautiful guitar loop plays. Roc syllable and bar work or as good as any track on the album, and the song has a faint Biggie snippet in the end as a tribute to the notorious B.I.G. So the initial album is 14 tracks, but there's 2 bonus tracks if you get the Pimpire edition. I bought that edition a week earlier. I always buy his music, it's always worth it. So the 2 bonus tracks are called Macaroni and Mama Love, and they're both good tracks that have a similar atmosphere. Macaroni sees Roc singing more, and on Mama Love he gets more introspective. I can see how these tracks are bonuses though, as they don't quite fit with the aesthetic of the album. So overall, I think Elephant Man Bones is an incredible album, especially if you're a Roc Marciano Alchemist fan. This is both underground artists at their best. This album is 16 tracks long, but never overstays its welcome, with all the songs only having 2 verses. Both artists show their immense chemistry and every feature is perfectly placed. My only gripes with this album would be the transition from Deja Vu to Quantum Leap that is not as smooth as the rest of the album. Roc singing on Trillion Cuts, it doesn't quite fit with the fast instrumental, and the mixing on the Biggie snippet on Think Big that needs to be turned up. Other than that, this is an almost perfect album, so I'm going with a 9 out of 10. Yes, this is a beautiful album. Like I said, I've listened to all of Roc's music. I have the majority of it, and this is one of his best. Alchemist and him are colleagues, they're friends, and they've been working together for a long time. So glad they could put an album out together, a full-length LP, and it was an opportune time. What do you guys think of this album? Let me know. Hope everybody's well. All right, peace.